welcome back. Thanks for coming and joining us. So today we are going to be talking about quite a few things, actually. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard, and if you haven't, then here you go. There is this concert coming up.
She sent it to
Festival.
me when we were. When did you send it to me? You showed it to me, and I saw it on your story.
I think we were at, I tagged you in it. And
I know
then
you sent it to me, and I was like,
tagged you both.
Dead, yeah.
And then I think we were talking about it when we went out to dinner.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we were like, we want to go to this.
Yeah.
But then, okay, it's
Tell
the
them what it is.
Yeah, it's the When We Were
Yeah.
Young festival.
Yes.
So what I think it started out as a concert though, because it started out as a one-day event with so many bands, so many bands. So if you're
Paramore.
late 20s, early 40s, maybe even any 40s,
You
know what
went through a scene phase at all?
went through any type of scene phase.
Little emo.
Can you
know.
read off some of the bands?
Yeah, I am getting
Guess down memory
Paramore,
lane.
So,
AFI.
Avril Lavigne, My Chemical Romance, Story of the Year, Jimmy Eat World, 303, AFI, The Used, Alkaline Trio, Taking Back Sunday, Dashboard Confessionals. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. It's like any emo scene kid's dream, right?
My biggest thing was like, where is Blink? Like,
Blink
where is Blink?
And Linkin Park. I'm sorry.
yeah, Linkin Park would
I
be good.
understand Chester, rest in peace, love him. But you can have a vocal going over it and give him some tribute. But you gotta have Linkin Park. Anyway, so we were all stoked. We were all like, okay, we want to go, but we hate people.
I was, what? Don't say we hate people. No, Jenna
crowds.
hates people,
And
okay?
that one over there.
I dislike most people.
Yeah.
I like animals better.
I don't like crowds at a
Crowds.
concert.
Yes.
I will say that. I don't need to be like,
because you get a lot of stupid people in one place.
I don't need to
and
be in the sweat of it and people bumping me. No thanks.
Absolutely. And after the whole Astroworld thing, I'm super weary about going to concerts in the first place.
Well,
Or
see,
now.
for me, it was the Route 91 concert, the festival.
Oh, where he got shot in Vegas?
Yeah, they shot up a bunch of country people in Vegas.
And Ariana Grande's concert,
what happened?
people got shot there too.
Didn't hear about it.
And then there was that chick from American Idol or The Voice where she got shot coming out of her concert.
Are we even safe going to concerts anymore?
No.
What the hell, people?
I was at the John Party one, Boots in the Park, and I was 6 weeks pregnant with this one. And Nick kept wanting to get closer to the stage.
Ooh,
and it was
scary.
just full of drunk, rude people that didn't give a shit about anyone else except their own good time. And I was like, I am not going up to the stage.
Yeah,
And I just had a weird feeling about it. I was like, I don't want to be in any sort of a pushing mosh pit. I don't want to get in a fight with somebody. If somebody I don't know. That's my big thing. I don't want to fucking knock someone out and end up on the news or something.
Absolutely.
No thanks.
I was at a concert. This just reminds me. I was at a concert one time, a country concert, and we were up in what do they call it? It's like the grass seating, right? And it's
usually general admission, right?
Yeah, general admission, $20 for the ticket, right? So there's a ton of people, and some people bring chairs and stuff like that to sit in the lawn. And so we were making our way through the crowd, and one of my friends was wearing this backpack chair thing, right? And it kind of bumps people, but you're like, excuse me, sorry, whatever. Well, so this drunk girl got pissed that the chair hit her or shoved her. So she, from the back, shoved my friend going up the hill so he couldn't see. So she was wearing a baseball cap and I was pissed. And so I took her cap, pulled it over her face and shoved her down the hill. And then her boyfriend, I've never had a man grab me physically like that. He grabbed me and pulled me over, spilled my beer, and then thankfully I was there with a 6'3" Navy SEAL who just hopped on the guy and beat the heck out of him. And so they just started fighting, and I was like, I literally kind of started it. She started it, but
no, she fucking started it.
right?
And
She deserved
point
it.
proven. That's why I don't like to go.
Yes. So the one time I was in a crowd, no, I don't do it anymore.
Well, and I think if it weren't for the crowds and all that kind of stuff, I think we all probably would have purchased tickets immediately, right?
Oh, I
Yeah.
would have
This event?
bought in my yellow Dickies that I used to have in 6th grade and then worn them.
Yellow Dickies?
Yeah.
Can we What?
Yellow Dickies.
No. Red Dickies.
I used
red
to, I
and
had
black.
red, I had yellow, I had
with
black.
like 4 belts. I'm wearing this belt in honor of us talking about this because I used to wear like 5 of those and not put them in the belt loops, you know?
Oh yeah, I had the white stud one.
With
I had the
star,
black stud one.
remember the
Yeah.
big buckles were
yes.
in? Like, I mean, Belt Factory probably made so much money
So
that was decade.
before my emo. So that was going on in high school, and then when I was about 15, the emo thing started going on, where all the girls were shopping at Goodwill for like old lady shirts and dresses and the big glasses and like all that. And that was kind of more so my phase where I was listening to this type of music.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, I was in a band then.
Mine was, I think it was either 5th or 6th grade. And like, you know how you always pick out like your first day of school outfit?
Yes.
Mine was the Yellow Dickies with my Avril Lavigne
don't remember
t-shirt,
Yellow
my Avril Lavigne
Dickies.
tank.
See, I was embarrassed that I listened to Avril Lavigne. I definitely kept it a secret. I was like, no, I'm listening to like As I Lay Dying.
Listening to AFI.
Yes. Well, okay, so now there's like this whole conspiracy theory going on that this
Ooh, I love a
concert
good
is
conspiracy theory.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
So now there's this conspiracy theory that this concert actually is not going to happen. It started as a 1-day concert, and then now it's a 2-day. Now it's a 3-day.
Where
I think
is it again?
Las Vegas.
supposed to be in
Las
Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah. And all these bands, I think there's like 60 bands. And in 1 day, that would literally give each band like 15 minutes to play. Because there's setting up, there's breaking down, there's testing. There's all these things that go into playing besides just playing.
Right.
There's no way. So then they just kept extending it. And they only gave people like maybe a week notice to purchase tickets, which is super weird.
So you can't purchase any tickets anymore.
I don't think so. I may be wrong, but they keep like adding new things. And it's like, either you guys really don't have your shit together or this is completely like not real. And then I know that people were saying like some of the bands didn't know that they were playing, but that's kind of part of having like being in a band is you don't book your own gigs. Your tour manager usually does that for you. So I get that part.
Yeah.
That not all bands know what they have going on. They just show up and play and peace out.
What's the conspiracy theory exactly? Like, why would they be doing a fake
So-
show?
Like making money off of this?
So the people, I guess, that are putting this on, and again, this is just what I'm reading. I'm not saying this is exactly what it is. This is what I'm finding is that the people that put on Astroworld, the company, is also putting on this festival. And
Wait, the ones that had the whole Travis.
So Travis, what was his
Scott?
name? Travis Scott. Yeah. And
Do a little recap on that in case someone listening doesn't know about that or didn't hear
go for
about it.
it.
It was like a few weeks ago, and I don't know a whole ton about it, but as I know, there was some really weird imagery about like Armageddon and the ends of times kind of thing in his whole setup.
right.
And
And a bunch of people died.
people think that like he told people to rush the stage and that he wasn't
did.
really doing anything about
Well, and
it.
they let in too many people, which is why they lost the lawsuit. And they have like a couple $1 billion lawsuit now because they did let too many people in.
people were
Yes.
running through like the metal detectors and just going in.
And the security wasn't stopping anything from happening. So
Right.
people
and he
just
like encourages people to rush the stage and my
Right.
hoop fell off.
Uh-oh.
I lost an earring.
And then supposedly
Starting
I
on your
read
fight.
I read a thing about some girl crawling up to the security stand and saying there's people dying in there
There's
and getting
video of
stomped
it.
on.
Yeah.
And they basically said, if you don't get off, we're going to push you off this thing.
Yeah.
So like, it just kind of seemed like a very demonic, almost odd coincidence that seemed like Satan was behind it. It was just kind of like,
it was extremely chaotic. It was not planned out well. The security was not prepped for the amount of people that they had, and they continued to encourage the behavior instead of putting a halt to it, which is why I think they lost the
and
lawsuit.
then
a
he
lot
got
of-
in trouble because
A lot of people are saying that he's
super
responsible.
canceled.
And his little apology was basically like, I always try and stop things if I see it, and like you can see what's
Bullshit.
going on in
The
front of
crowd
you.
was like yelling
And he
at
has a
him to
history of
stop.
it.
Yeah, he's
and the
done it
ambulance came
before.
in.
Yeah.
yeah.
so
So
the
fuck
same
this new one. I definitely wouldn't go based on just the fact that it's the same
If
company.
they're putting it on,
Exactly.
no
Like,
thanks.
And the big thing is that they have very clearly stated that there is no money back. Like you cannot get your money back. So, which leads us into another thing that we were going to kind of touch on is COVID. I mean, we're thinking, or not we, but what the conspiracists are thinking, which I'm kind of starting to lean towards, is that they're going to call COVID. and cancel the concert. Nobody's going to get their money back. And the money that they make off of this is going to go towards paying off their fines or whatever they got from Astroworld, like the billions of dollars that they owe people now. So what do you guys think? And
so Astroworld owes people money for how all of that was handled.
They lost a lawsuit, basically.
Okay, so they owe like $2 billion. So it's interesting. I mean, as a company, if you owe money, you're going to try and figure out another way to make it.
Right.
But and part of me understands kind of like the no money back thing, because I bet so many people are using, I'm sick with COVID as an excuse to like get out of things or get money back or cancel flights and stuff like that. And it's kind of this big gray area, right? Like,
but I feel like
if they cancel it,
most companies are being lenient about that. Like they're like flights. They're like, just give us like 24 hours notice. You know,
they're not anymore. I don't
they're
think.
not. Oh,
like Airbnb is not refunding people anymore. Like, as I have my home on Airbnb in Nashville, and it basically tells you like the amount of time, the time frame in which you have to like refund people fully because of that. And that time is over. So you're not. It's not an excuse anymore. You still lose your deposit or however they have it set up.
And that's if you get COVID, or what if there's some like thing that says that you have to shut down or we go into lockdown? Then what happens?
I'm not really too sure about that. Okay. I think they're probably taking it as they go.
Yeah.
But I remember that I had tickets, VIP tickets to Stagecoach. It was the first time I was going to go, and I I rented a really cool like Airbnb for my parents and Nick. And I remember the guy not wanting to give me my money back. And then I just happened to look on Airbnb's like FAQ, and they were like, yeah, you get your money back. It doesn't matter because they canceled the festival. And he was trying to tell me, oh no, sorry, like you can't. And then I was like, actually it says, oh, sorry, I almost kicked your water bottle over. And I'm like, actually it says right here in your like FAQ that like, you have to give me my money back. So he did.
It just sucks though. Like I get that. Like, it's good that you got your money back, but also like all the businesses that like suffered from COVID, like that wasn't his fault, and he probably every year is like banking on this money coming in through renting his home during Coachella, during Stagecoach, all those 4 weekends. And he lost all that money, but that wasn't even his fault. Like that, I mean, it just, businesses.
And that's the difference between being
not my fault either.
I know.
It's like everybody.
That's the difference between being a business owner and a consumer, is that as a business owner, you know that you take that risk.
Oh, absolutely.
Where as a consumer, you aren't. So that's where I kind of see the difference. But I bought my mom tickets for her birthday to go to Celine Dion. Like she's wanted to go her entire life. It's her last concert ever. So finally got tickets front row.
Oh my gosh.
Literally front row, February 2020, March, shut down. And she kept rescheduling. And now they just contacted, let everybody know that she's not going to be doing it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
A couple $1,000s, just hopefully I get it back. But I'm more sad that we don't get to go see her.
Yeah, they better refund you.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I mean,
we'll see.
Whose pocket is that going in then?
It's and it's a huge it's
the Pechanga Casino Arena.
But who put it on, who we got the AXS.
Oh. I don't know what that is. I had way cheaper tickets. We were gonna go see Stick Figure in Santa Barbara, and it was funny because StubHub has been awful. They're not the only one, but
you can't get a hold of anybody.
No. And then they said, oh, well, you know what? We're actually not going to give you your money back until it's actually canceled.
Exactly.
Because and I'm like, you cannot hang on to someone's money.
No.
We've entered a contract by me giving you money. You're not giving me what I
service.
paid for. And so I'm going to charge this back if you don't give me, I was so patient. I think I waited 8 months, and I finally was called my credit card company. I was like, okay, so this is what's going down. And I finally got my refund, and it literally took them about a year to give people's money back. I'm like, you can't just hang on to people's money when you're not providing them the service, the event, or whatever it is. So yeah, it was a really it was weird. It was a weird gray area, right? Because everyone had all these shows and all this stuff, and it's all this money was already spoken for, and it's you can't hang on to people's money when you're not providing them the service. It's just kind of what it is, you know?
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so did you guys, let's see, we all got COVID, right? At one point or another?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just had it a week and a half ago.
And I had it about 3 weeks ago.
And I had it almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. I swear Nick had it before it was like people knew what it was, and I was taking care of him, and he was sick for like a good 14 days, and I thought I was just asymptomatic maybe maybe I was because I didn't like
that strain. Yeah,
I didn't get sick.
Andy never got it when I had it.
Really?
I went line dancing. This was June of 2020, and I went line dancing. So like things shut down, and then they opened back up again briefly, and I went line dancing during that time, and I'm pretty sure that's where and when I got COVID, and found out I tested positive like on the 4th of July. So that sucked.
Oh.
And I actually like didn't think I had it. My doctor didn't even think I had it. He just thought I had like anxiety or something. And so I was like out at parties and stuff. And then my doctor called me. He was like, "Oh, you tested positive." I was like, "Hey babe, we should probably leave." Like
You felt fine?
Yeah, I felt fine. It's kind of a whole story. There was a young man who asked me to dance, and he was on the spectrum, and he dipped me but did not catch me when we were line dancing. So I got 3 ribs out of place, but I didn't know that at the time. So it hurt to take a deep breath. So I just thought shortness of breath. I had COVID.
Andy let you dance with another guy?
He wasn't there. But yes, Andy doesn't really like to line dance. He'll 2-step a little bit, but so he lets me dance with other guys.
I'm shocked.
Especially if they're on the spectrum. Like, what harm is it, you know?
How did you know he's on the spectrum?
I mean, you can tell when the way that they talk and the way they kind of act.
You think that's why he dropped you?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, like not because he was on the spectrum. He wasn't really a great dancer.
He wasn't very coordinated.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So I got dropped and then had shortness of breath. My doctor thought, no, that doesn't sound like the symptom. What we mean, it just sounds like you have anxiety. We'll test you. You're fine. And then it came back positive. So yeah, but I like lost my taste and smell for a couple days, and that was honestly really about it. Andy never got it. We never quarantined from each other. I didn't spread it to anyone, and I know that for a fact because all my clients, coworkers, people I was around, none of them got it from me. So
yeah,
so I helped stop the spread. But so what was it like? Because you just had it, Jenna.
Yeah. I mean, I think it felt like a flu. Pretty much, but the biggest difference for me personally was body aches. And then I noticed like my daughter, she had it, and hers was more like her breathing, and then my husband was a lot in his throat. So we all like had same symptoms, but like it was worse for us in certain areas. And I already have like inflammation issues from like my autoimmune stuff. So it definitely hit me there. My daughter has severe asthma, so it hit her there. And then my husband doesn't talk a lot, so I think it just hit him in his vocal cords. But
so you never actually tested positive?
No,
right?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. So
it takes a while, huh?
Okay, so this new strain, apparently like, I mean, I took 3 tests. My daughter took 3 tests. My husband tested positive right away, but he waited a little bit to take it. And then once me and my daughter both were feeling better and we tested positive. So then we waited like maybe 2 days, and then we were negative again. So it's a very, very small area when you'll test positive, which is super weird. And I've also heard that like you can actually like swab in your throat. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying I've heard that people are doing it, and they are testing positive quicker for this particular strain. But I didn't get the first one, but I had friends that did. And I mean, some of them were in the hospital. Some of them were like, their doctors were saying like, say goodbye, like say your goodbyes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, and then I had people like you who had it and like barely even knew they had it. So like who knows?
Every one of my siblings and in-laws, like I'm talking over 10, 15 probably people in my family have all had it at different points. But I think my brother had it the worst, but like no one was ever hospitalized or like pretty much everyone, it was pretty mild for the most part. So
I feel like if people were hospitalized or got really sick, it was usually like a family, right? Like one of my other friends, her husband's family, I think they're in like New York or something, but like there were like 15 of them that were like 20 of them got it, like 15 of them were hospitalized, and like 8 of them died.
Jeez.
Wow.
But same genetics. You know what I mean? So maybe same eating habits, same genetics, same, you know what I mean? I don't know. And then like my friend, Faith, like her family, her mom, her husband, and her father-in-law all ended up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like ventilated. So, but then she was fine. So I don't know. Whole thing's freaking weird.
It's just weird.
Yeah, a lot of people ended up in the hospital too that didn't need to go. Like, and there was nothing they could do for you.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have a flu. Like, go home.
Right.
Because Nick would go to people's houses and he's like, "What do you want me to do for you?" And he's like, "Well," they're like, "Well, I have a cough." And he's like,
Oh.
And they're like, "I think I have COVID." And he's like, "Nothing the hospital is going to do for you is going to be different than what you're going to do at your home."
Right. Then I shouldn't be here and you shouldn't go anywhere because you could spread it more.
Yeah,
just
right.
stay home.
Don't call me to, because there's definitely different, like, it affects everyone differently. It just depends. Like,
But people were freaked out about it. I mean, they still are, but I
that's
think
why you shouldn't go to the hospital, because you
Right.
have it like he's coughing and that was it. You know,
I
they
have a
do the
question.
full checkout.
I have a question for you guys.
What?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you heard like the word COVID? Like, do you remember where you were, what you were like, what did you think? Like, what was your initial like response or thought, if you want to answer?
Government conspiracy theory.
That's what I
And
thought.
it's not
Wait,
real.
but even immediately?
Yeah. Because it was
Immediately.
around
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was going on?
it
that
was
would-
around the what do you call that? Like the election
Election?
before the election.
Primary,
Like
or
the primaries?
primaries?
Like where the Republicans choose who they want, the Democrats choose who they want. Is that what's it called?
yeah, it was a very odd timing with like all of the emotionally charged things that were going on in the world with like BLM and like all the protests.
Didn't that happen
right?
after though?
Yeah, that happened after, I think.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Happened after.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're
Because
right.
I remember being really, I'm sorry, if you went out there in the streets and you were like protesting the whole BLM thing, it really frustrated me because everyone was like, COVID, COVID, COVID. Oh, but it's fine if we go and protest in the streets. I'm like, that
Right.
spreaded COVID
You're
even
right, that was
more.
after.
Like, that's not, I mean, I guess there were a lot of people who were probably safe about it, but I'm like, I was frustrated about that.
Well, those masks like don't really do anything, and people had like paper ones on and fabric ones on. They still do. And Nick, being a firefighter paramedic, he knows about all of these things and how they're transmitted and everything. And he's like, that's literally so like like those normal ones that everyone wears is literally so your spit doesn't go onto a patient.
Right.
Like that does not stop.
Andy was in
like,
the medical field too, and he explained that to me. Because
Yeah.
I remember at the beginning of COVID, and I was like, before we had to wear masks, I was like, babe, like, I think you should just wear a mask when you go to the store. He was like, it's not going to make a difference, Brooklyn. Like, and he explained it to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I don't know.
Right.
Some people, like, you know, they think that the masks work, and they think that, like, oh, it's like, well, if you have your pants on and you pee your pants, then the person next to you doesn't get as wet. But if you don't have your pants on, then they get wet. Like, it was, have you heard of that analogy?
No, but I get it.
So, like, that's what some people think. Like, oh, maybe it, like, helps a little bit. I mean,
I'm probably the odd man out here because I am a mask wearer.
That's okay.
But
no judgment.
no, and it's more so, I guess I don't think that it's going to protect us 100%. I don't think that it's the end all to be all. And I don't think that everyone should be required to do it. What I think is that if you feel like I feel, like if I feel like it's going to protect me, then it's my responsibility to do what's I feel is best and what's going to reduce stress for myself. But that should not be put on you or you. In my place of business, if you're coming and you're sitting with me and you're getting a service done with me, then I do require it because it reduces my stress and it reduces my, you know, like my parents are a little bit older and I just feel like I would rather be like safe than sorry. I don't think that the masks like protect you 100%. I think it's kind of like putting your seatbelt on. Like it may help, it may not. Again, I think wearing your seatbelt should be your own call too. I don't think you should get a ticket for not wearing it, but that's my own.
I agree. I completely agree.
It's just, I think it should be what you feel comfortable doing. But I know when I first heard about it, I didn't think that, which is weird because I'm usually the first to jump on some sort of conspiracy theory. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but whatever. I remember I was talking to my girl, Kels, and she was like talking about how we should like slow down on this venture that we were doing and because of COVID. And I'm like, it's not going to come here. We're fine. Like, it's totally fine. Let's just keep going. Like, no big deal. And then, you know, then somebody like at T-Mobile, like down the street from my salon had it. And we're like, oh my gosh, a person has it. Like, it was like crazy.
Remember like the
lock
first
the
person
doors,
in
let's
Oregon?
get out.
Yeah, like, oh, someone in Oregon has it. And
Yeah.
now we're like, freaking everyone's had it. Like,
Right.
Yeah, and people like, I don't know, I just like, you know, Nick was telling me stories about how the hospitals were making more money when they would say someone had COVID. And he would tell me about like people that went in there for something not even related, or even at car crashes that he'd be at, they would mark their death as COVID when they literally died in a car accident. So I was just like, I don't believe anything that I'm seeing on CNN. I don't watch CNN.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of controversy around this, but I will say I don't listen to the news because I feel like every news, I don't care what channel it is, it's, you know, it's all just for the drama. But so I get
controlled media.
Direct, you know, legitimate sources. But so one of my clients, her really good friend is a doctor, an ER doctor in the hospitals, right? She said they had someone who committed suicide. It was labeled as a COVID death. And they were arguing because her friend, who's a doctor, felt that because the woman didn't have income because of her business shutting down because of COVID, and she was depressed and financially stressed, so it led her to commit suicide. So she feels that it is justified as being a COVID-19 death. So now this adds to the numbers of people who have died from COVID, but the lady did not have COVID. She chose to end her life. And my client, the friend, was like, I don't agree with that. And
the virus didn't actually take her out.
Exactly. So it's hard to say, like, what are the real numbers? Like, no one will ever really know.
Yeah.
We are going to go ahead and cut this episode in half here because we realized that our episode was extremely long, and we're going to start making these around 20 to 25 minutes to make them a little bit easier to digest and get through in one car ride if that's what you're doing. But thanks for listening, guys, and we will be back next Monday. Again, that is our new posting day. We will see you next Monday, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Bye, guys.